Hello, friends. A warm welcome to everyone joining us today for the Build the Skills You Need for Today's Tech World panel discussion. My name is Kerry Herger, and I am a Community Program Manager on the Worldwide Learning Go-to-Market team. I'm the host for today's session, in which we'll be discussing how to keep your skills relevant in the ever-changing technical landscape with insights and tips for your skilling journey, and how you can make the most of Microsoft certifications. Before we get started, I just want to cover a few housekeeping items for our discussion today. You can use the Q&A box to ask any questions you have. You can use also the upvote, little thumbs up there, if you see a question there that you would like to have answered. And if we have time at the end of this presentation, we'll take that time to answer that for you. Help the moderators as we go through this discussion by not spamming the Q&A. This session will be recorded. And last but not least, and most importantly, we do ask that you adhere to the Microsoft Code of Conduct. I'm truly humbled by this outstanding group of community leaders that's joining us today for this session. And before we get started, I just want to take a moment to have each panelist introduce themselves. And with that said, Thiago, would you please kick us off?
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much. Yes, my name is Thiago. I basically work as a cloud architect and advisor. I'm also a Microsoft certified trainer, where I basically help people achieve more by getting certified on, especially on Azure, which is my area of expertise. And I'm also an Azure MVP, which I get it for my community work.
Excellent. Heather?
Hi, I'm Heather Severino. I'm coming to you from Florida in the United States. I am a Microsoft certified trainer, became a Microsoft certified trainer in 2011. I've been Microsoft certified since 2006. I'm also a regional lead for any of you that are MCTs. If you have any questions about that, happy to have you reach out to me. And I am an MVP for the Office apps and services. My focus is anything productivity, so anything that happens to be within that Microsoft 365 wheelhouse, but I do have certifications in Microsoft Office Specialist, Azure Dynamics, and some other technologies.
Fabulous. Elias?
Well, my name is Elias Marep. I'm a senior program manager at Microsoft Azure Engineering. I focus on our Fast Track for Azure ISVs and Startup program. At Fast Track, we de-risk and accelerate our customers' journey by providing technical enablement. I'm a certification junkie. I currently hold over 50 Microsoft certifications. Honestly, I stopped counting a while ago. I'm also a Microsoft certified trainer and a certified and a regional lead. I'm a former Microsoft MVP. I was an MVP for 11 years. I have designed and developed Microsoft certification exams for about 16 years, but most importantly, I'm a community guy at heart, and I'm really happy to be here sharing, a little bit with the community.
Thank you. George?
Hi there, I'm Jorge Maia. I live in Brazil. I have been on the road with technology since 1995, now working as an IoT consultant and innovation advisor for companies here in Brazil, Europe, and North America. MCT since 2014, MVP in Azure, and regional lead for Brazil, helping the MCTs over here. It's a pleasure to be here with you today.
It's a pleasure to have you. Julian?
Hi, I'm Julian Sharp. I'm a Dynamics 365 and Power Platform specialist. I'm a Microsoft certified trainer. I've been training for 15 years. I'm a Microsoft regional lead, and I'm also an MVP in business applications. Yes, I spend a lot of my time training across really the cloud and getting people to be able to develop and build greater solutions for customers. That's what my energy is. And I've also, like Elias, I've helped develop certification exams.
Fantastic. Well, thank you all. As I said, I'm very honored to have you all as part of this panel, and let's get started. So, Thiago, we're all lifelong learners, and for those focused in technology, it's so vital to keep pace with our technical skills. So I know you're someone that's as passionate about sharing your real-world knowledge as a Microsoft MVP, teaching others about Azure as a Microsoft certified trainer. So you're very familiar with this. So from your own experiences, can you tell us how Microsoft certifications can have an impact on a technical professional's career?
Yeah, well, that's an amazing question, by the way, Kerry. And I will try not to monopolize here the time because I think I could just fill, 30 minutes with just that question, to be totally honest. But
Well,
yeah,
we got you on.
yeah. So getting certifications, I kind of call it like a journey, that you're taking to take a certification. When starting, you prepare to pass on, the exam or exams that you have to attain that certification. You start to create a plan. Basically, I call it like a learning plan, right? Like the learning paths that we have on Microsoft Learn from all the topics that you need to learn. And that could be an extensive number of topics that some you might be comfortable because you're already using it on your daily job. Others maybe not. And this is great because even if today we have Microsoft certifications that what we call them role-based alignment. So there is an Azure admin or an Azure developer. So it's pretty clear, oh, it's an administration on Azure. But let's be honest, not all admins are born equal, right? So some in one company, they use some services in another company, they don't use, let's imagine like PaaS services. They only use more the infrastructure side of things. But when they go to the certification, there is a path that is common for everyone. And you're going to touch on a lot of services and a lot of content, a lot of knowledge that you are not aware of, that you're not used to work with. And that it is for me one of the great, empowerments that a certification can have in your career, because you're going to learn a lot of different things that on the daily basis, with all the crazy life that most of us live in the IT world, you just don't have the time to put aside to learn. But now, because you have a purpose, which is obtaining that certification, yeah, you need to learn those new skills. um, and when you learn those new skills, you might also spark the interest in some new areas. For example, um, I took the AI 900, which is basically the fundamentals for artificial intelligence. And it's something that, to be totally honest with you, I don't do. It's not something that I do on my daily job. I don't do this when I do consulting. I don't teach that, for sure not. But it kind of sparked my interest by the area, so that now I'm learning more about that, and I want to take one of the associate levels on AI, because I you kind of sparked my interest. So for some people, yeah, it even might be a different career path, because we are all reinvented ourselves in IT. I started doing on-prem thing. I started as an administrator, then I switched to development, then I went back, with cloud, doing both things, So we are always reinvented ourselves. So this, can really be like, oh, that spark that you're needing, because you just need to learn something. You learn something new, and you just like, this is an area that it's nice. So let me just go with this. Let me try to learn more from the company, from the organization side of things. The organizations have a lot to win in getting people certified, because all that new thing that they learn, they can bring to the organization, and the organization can be more cost effective. They can build highly scalable solutions instead of the not so scalable solutions that they have today, solutions that are cheaper to run. My God, a lot of new things. So kind of in resume, find new career paths, making you learn new skills, you being a better professional, uh, you keeping up to date with technology, because there are always new things being launched, and you see amazing stuff that has been launched since yesterday on Build. I've been keeping here, getting all the new stuff, and I was like, oh my God, I need to learn this and this, and trying to sign up, for all those private previews to see if we can get access to all of this, because I'm really engaged in all of that, and want to learn more about all that, and of course making your organization more productive. So in the end, I just want to end this part with this: achieve more. Okay.
That's amazing. Thank you, Thiago. I really appreciate that insight that you provided. So Heather, as a globally recognized Microsoft certified trainer, a Microsoft MVP, you've got extensive experience designing and developing Microsoft exams. And for those that have not begun their journey or might be deciding to start, what would you recommend to those in the community as a starting point to begin their certification?
Yeah, Carrie, I would start with Learn. That's the place I would go, and specifically the certifications area, because you might be considering a certification, or you may not know what certifications are available that would apply to the type of work that you're doing or the career that you want to get into. So by starting there, you can look at the different fundamental certifications. You can take a look at the role-based certifications to see, which ones would apply to the role that I'm currently in or the role that I'm seeking to be in. And you can also look at the the certification guide, which gives you more details about the different certifications by technology. So that's a great jumping off point. And then once you kind of figure out which certification you're going to go for, from Learn as well, you can prep for it. There's courses there and they're arranged by modules. You might have a module that's an hour and it's on demand, which means that you can kind of pace it and fit it into your schedule. I saw a question come up in the chat about, I'm comfortable in the role that I'm in right now. How do I dedicate that time to do it? So, put something into your calendar that you're going to do this module this week or whatever works with the time that you have. So that's really the place that I would start. But that shouldn't be the only place, right? There's different ways that we need to learn, and from many different people to kind of round out and really be prepared for that exam. So some of the other things that I would suggest is there's a lounge there. Go check out the lounge. A question came up in the chat about somebody hosts a study group. Find those places that you can talk to other people that are interested in those technologies and form a study group, right? There's nothing better than having that study buddy and being able to learn from other people. As well, I also recommend that you find things on Microsoft Tech Community. There's a lot of great Ask Me Anythings that Microsoft has. So if you're prepping for Azure or you're prepping for Dynamics, see if there's an AMA, and it's usually going to be the folks that are the experts that work with that product, and you're going to be able to find out a lot of information and resources from there. I would also be remiss if I didn't mention LinkedIn Learning. I'm an instructor, so I might be a little partial, but there's great exam prep courses out there on LinkedIn Learning that you can learn from as well and help you prep. The thing that I like about a lot of what they offer there is they might have little mini challenges, right? And then they might have like a practice exam. So you're getting an experience. There's other providers that also offer similar kind of resources for that as well. User groups. What I like now is a lot of user groups used to be in person. So you're kind of limited to what's in my local area and does it cover the technologies that I'm interested in. Now, so many of those user groups are online, which means you can attend whatever you want around the world, learn from all these experts and guest speakers, and find those in those communities that have the same interest as you. And that kind of grows your community that you can learn from. So a lot of different approaches that I think can help you. Conferences like this, Build or Ignite. There's usually going to be pre-conference days. Great opportunity for you to have workshops. We usually have a lot of the MCTs that are here with me delivering sessions to help you prep for these exams. Take full advantage of those because they're the ones that are going to help you with the gotchas, the things that you need to really know, maybe other resources that are out there that you didn't realize were available to you. And then from all of these places that you're going to learn, follow the experts and the people that you meet that are working in those roles and that are working with those technologies. Follow them on Twitter, follow them on LinkedIn, on other social platforms, because those are the people, even the folks that work for Microsoft, those are the people that are sharing the latest news, that are sharing tips, that are sharing, blogs, all sorts of great stuff that I think is going to really give you all the knowledge that you need to feel confident and be able to ace that exam.
That's amazing, Heather. I think your whole point of go to learn as a first destination is probably one of the most important takeaways there. And thank you for sharing that. I think that's something that we need to get out there a lot more. And my apologies, everybody, in terms of sharing the desktop. That was brought to you by my fingers touching a screen. So at least we got through that really quickly. All right, Elias, just like Heather, you have an incredible wealth of experience as a community leader, a Microsoft certified trainer. I know you mentioned the fact of holding over 50 certifications, which is mind-boggling and incredible at its own set. For those that have not taken a certification exam, can you recommend strategies and resources to help those in the community as they prepare to take their first certification?
Yeah, actually, yes, I can. Some of my friends here have mentioned great resources like Microsoft Learn, but I just want to mention experience. Like there's no substitute for experience, for getting, going out, doing the actual work, getting your hands dirty, playing around. If you have do not have not done something in the real world, creating an environment, using a demo subscription, and actually doing the thing, right? Like actually going and getting your hands dirty. There's no substitute for experience. I also wanted to share some tips on how to approach an exam. Like I mentioned, I've worked designing and development exams for quite a while, and people always approach me and say like, "Hey, I took the exam, but it was too difficult." And actually, people need to take the time to read the question. Um, and here's a recommendation that I always share. When you get a question, you might get a scenario and some technical details, but at the end you're going to have what we call the goal statement, and the goal statement is going to be something like which answer represents a complete solution, or what should you do first. So sometimes when we take the exam, we're stressed, we're anxious, and we just get the shakes and go read, try to answer, and we just jump into conclusions. Take the time to read the question, to analyze it, and then just focus on the goal statement. Because if you ask me, there's a big difference between the first step in a list of things that I need to do and a complete solution. You might have in your list of options, something that represents a complete solution, something that is just the first step that you need, the prerequisite, something that you need, before you can do all the other things. So just focus on that goal statement. Trust me, it will make a difference. Also, wearing the right hat. And what I mean by this is that every time we go and we schedule an exam, we need to know what's the focus, what's the area of expertise, and what's most importantly, what's the role in that exam. Because sometimes we might have a role like in my job, I could be an architect, but I'm taking the, let's say, Microsoft Azure Administrator AC104 exam. So in my job, I'm the architect. I have full permissions, and my role is designing and architecting, all the decision making for our solution. But as an administrator, you are clicking, you are updating, you're deleting. So also, as an administrator, you might not have the ability to make you take all the decisions, and design a solution. And obviously, this applies, vice versa. It applies both ways. So make sure that you wear the right hat whenever you go and you take the exam. You might have the ability to do something in your work, but as an administrator, you might not be able to change the way we deploy Azure AD and we configure it. And one last thing, and I wanted to briefly see if I can share my screen here for a minute. And if you go to the exam page, and I'm just using AC104 as an example, you will see here a description of the exam. And if you scroll down, you will see the skills measured. Skills measures will tell you a percentage, the weight of each functional group. In this particular exam, like 15 to 20% of the questions are going to be related to manage Azure identities and governance, and 15 to 20 implement and manage storage, and so on. Everything that you see here is going to be in the exam. But one thing that people really missed is clicking this, download exam skills outline. If you click this, this will open up our objective domain. And this is a document that you can save, you can print. Personally, I use it as a checklist of topics that I really want to make sure that I go and really study, practice, like do some labs. Again, it's a checklist. So you will not only see the actual functional group, but you will get into the details. So okay, besides manage Azure identities and governance, what else do I need to? Oh, you need to get into creating users and group, creating administrative units, and so on. So if you scroll down this list, you will see all the tasks and the tool, some of the tools that you might need to get familiar with and that are definitely going to be a part of the exam. Everything that you see here is what we get when we start writing questions. So this is my point of reference of like, hey, I need to write questions that are related to configuring Azure Disk Encryption or managing VM sizes and redeploying VMs. So when I go back and remind you, go to the exam. This is for every single exam out there, and scroll down, and you will see the skills measure. Click the download exam skills outline, and you will be good to go. Kerry, back to you.
Fantastic. Awesome. Let me reshare my screen. Does everybody see it now? Okay.
Yeah, I can see it.
All right. Awesome. Hey, Elias, thank you so much. That was incredible. I really appreciate you taking that extra step there and sharing this information with everybody here. That was awesome.
My pleasure, Kerry.
All right. Awesome. Okay, George. Well, let me get back to the sharing part here. Give me 1 second to navigate. There we go. All right, George. You're a Microsoft MVP, you're a certified trainer. I know firsthand you are a wealth of knowledge and you share so much goodness with the community. What is your best advice for learners to continue and or renew a previously achieved certification?
Great question, Kerry. Thank you very much for inviting me here. And community is live. Everyone should come in into the community. My best advice is to keep up to date. And the key point is practicing. You have to. You have to. Another good thing is to break the learning path into small steps. Because when you go to renew a certification, you will go through a knowledge assessment, and this is only for changes on the technology. So you have to create a study backlog, add over there technical debits, modules to study, new technologies, new resources, podcasts to listen, LinkedIn Learning. We had several pro tips over here to pursue a certification, right? To become a better professional. And I really believe that it will not only help you to renew a certification, but also in your career also. We can see tons of improvements in Azure, Office 365, now Microsoft 365, Dynamics every day. How many announcements have we had here in Build? Tons of, right? And we have to be able to do the certification again. And to do this certification again, Microsoft can help you. We have tons of learning paths, technical blogs, article documentations, study tools. You are not alone on this journey. I believe that's the message for you. You are not alone on this message. We have a technical community that loves to help you over here. And of course, if you ask someone in the technical community to help you to pursue and to archive a certification, man, I truly believe that it will happen. Okay, try these things on the Microsoft environment. Keep your hands dirty with them. Create your development environment. Go to Microsoft Docs. Go to the repos on the GitHub. Tons of information over there on the forums. We have a lot of information, and very important, all of it is free for you. Free for you. You do not have to pay that. Another good thing, curated by specialists on the subject. So we know about that. You can go, you can trust on this information. And at least we have to renew role and specialty certifications once a year, right? So unforeseen things happens. Life. That's the life. Problems happens, right? So do not leave the preparation to the last minute. The window to renew the certification is open at 6 months in advance. Do your backlog. Go. Start doing these things, right? And for who is new to this certification world, or just remembering for the others, the renew can be done now on the Microsoft side, right? You can go and take your knowledge assessment totally free of charge on your home, on your office. And another important thing to tell you, if you do not reach the minimum score on the first try, you can do it again. And maybe you do not pass on that, okay? You can do it 24 hours later. Man, it's amazing. It's Do not miss this renewal window. I'm telling this because I did. And you have to do the exams again and go and pass on. And I'm telling you because it happens to me, okay? That's my advising, and happy learning for you. And go ahead, do your certifications.
That's amazing. I mean, thank you, George. You know, the fact of there's a couple of points there is the fact of go do and community. Community is there to help. I can't stress this enough in terms of if you've got questions, there is a community that's willing to help you for free. Thank you, George. Julian, like the rest of the panel, you're a recognized MVP, a Microsoft certified trainer who's trained so many over the years. Is there one certification that you believe everyone should think about pursuing, and why? Would love to hear your comments here.
Okay, well, I've taken over 80 certifications in my career now. I've
Wow.
actually lost count. And one thing I'm a real fan of, I'm a fan of all the fundamentals. I think if you're getting into any area or just want to know more about something, the fundamentals certifications are a really good way to get an understanding. Like I took the security fundamentals, the data fundamentals. They're not my areas, but I learned from them. But the one certification I believe everybody should have is the Azure AI fundamentals, the artificial intelligence. Tiago mentioned it earlier on. AI is becoming more and more important. It's been built into most Microsoft products. Like, for instance, we've had an announcement this week about Power Apps. You can take a sketch of a form on a piece of paper and turn it into an app. That's AI in practice. And we're going to see more and more AI involved in applications. And we all need to understand about some of the real key principles about AI, about being responsible with AI and what the capabilities of it. And therefore, you can maybe have good conversations with your people in your business about what AI is and what the implications are. So I believe everybody, and not just people in IT, everybody should take Azure AI Fundamentals. It's not that technical. There's a lot of concepts. And that, for me, is the number one certification for absolutely everybody.
That's amazing. I didn't see that one coming from you, Julian, and I think that's awesome that you're recommending this one because you're looking forward in terms of what is going to be of the most value for people as we go down the road here. So thank you so much. I think we're almost at time, right? And I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure if we have time. Do we have any open questions that we can hit really quickly?
The chat.
There was one question from Debbie that asked about, where do we find certification lists from Microsoft? Well, Debbie, there's resources that I would recommend here. First one I'll recommend is Microsoft Learn, aka MS Learn at Build. But more importantly, to answer your question, for certification details, you can go to aka.ms/certification, which should be able to provide you with a wealth of knowledge related to the certifications there.
Yeah, I think there's just a question here about the renewals, and I think it's important to make sure. So the certifications, when we take them, they have usually just 1 year of after that they expire. But within 6 months of the expiration date, we have to renew those certifications. The renewal of the certifications are free, and it is done just using the browser. So you don't need to do like a formal exam it's called an assessment, and it's an open book, so you can just check some documentation on docs, etc. And they are, I don't know if I said, but they are free. So yeah, and then like George was saying, don't let that to the last possible day. Then you were forgetting, because then you have to pay for and taking a proctored exam. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's an important point that you added here, Thiago, that it's open book and that you can use
Yeah.
resources for this, let alone being free. So that's something that I think everybody would benefit from. Do we have any other questions? I don't see any other questions related here. I think we're all tapped out on questions. So firstly, I want to thank everybody that joined us for this great conversation. More importantly, I want to thank the panelists here. You were wonderful. You gave us an amazing wealth of knowledge to share with the community here. So thank you very much. I appreciate that. Your feedback from the audience is so important to us. So if you do have a couple of minutes, we would very much value your feedback on how this session was, what we can do to make it better. And you can hit the evaluations at aka.ms Microsoft Build Evals. We would appreciate it if you would do that. So on behalf of the entire panel, I want to thank you for joining us, and we look to be able to share something as soon at another event. So thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you.